Have you been doing any writing?
Yes, I've been actually working on the book project for my part. So I feel like I've kind of sort of gotten out of topic, but I'm pretty sure it's still good because it's talking about basically in the first paragraph, I was basically talking about how my life was going before the whole quarantine and pandemic.
Hmm.
And then I went to transitioning into basically what began all of this and what the reactions of it being.
Hmm.
And I guess I'm going to finish up the second paragraph with just a few of me being venting about how people are and how
Okay.
people were in the beginning, and
Hmm.
then how some people are starting to calm down, but
Yeah.
also how it's still affecting them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think any of that's off topic. I think that's all fantastic and totally fair.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do on the blog is on the course blog is I'm going to suggest to people that for the book project that people send me their first drafts of whatever it is they're writing sometime this week. That way, instead of looking at it like a polished, finished assignment, I'll probably come back with ideas or questions or observations that will help. And then we'll literally go back and forth and I'll just support your work in it. So, whatever it is this week, let's use that as a starting place. Get it to me either in an email or on a Word attachment or on a Google Doc, whatever you're comfortable with. I'll have a look and then we'll just start to play. Does that work for
Okay.
you?
Yeah, that sounds good.
That
Okay.
sounds
And so a couple questions come up. I don't know anything for sure yet, but I got an idea over the weekend and I sent the superintendent an email. And in that email, what I suggested was, well, actually, before I tell you what I said to him, I'm curious about how you're feeling. When you think about the fall and how people are talking about reopening, and we don't really know about where the disease is headed or how the pandemic is going to be, or what on a scale from 0 to 10, how safe school will be in terms of getting sick. How are you feeling about school starting in the fall like normal?
personally me, like I don't know exactly where we'll be at in the fall, like with this pandemic, but if it's not somewhere where it's like totally like clearing up or so, like going back to school just puts us right back in danger, and why we went through all this struggle of going in quarantine in the first place. Like I feel like it might set us back more. So like if they did like switch it up, like I don't want my senior year to be like that, like don't get me wrong, like
Mm-hmm.
I understand like sometimes it's frustrating for other people, and I completely agree, but like at the end of the day it's like our health safety and like not spreading it like more. So like considering like wherever we were at like during the fall time, I don't really want to put us or like the teachers or the staff at danger, because like everyone's touching everything and we're all like in classrooms with like 30 kids sometimes. So
Mm-hmm.
that's me personally.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that, Deanna. Bernardita, what do you think?
I don't know. Um, I don't know right now. I think it's gonna be dangerous, like for people to come back.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Lena, any thoughts?
Uh, Kind of like what Deanna said, we don't know where it's gonna be at when it gets to that point. All I can say is if we do go back in the fall, hopefully by then there will be more safety procedures for
Mm-hmm.
us in our healthcare. But if we end up not going, then probably it's best if we don't. So we can have more time in finding like a cure for it or something like that. And then we'll have, once it's like all clear, then we can like know that it's all good for us. But
Mm-hmm.
um, if we do go back, then I probably wouldn't been like okay, I guess, because I kind of want to see what the doctors would think, because they're the ones that's usually that's battling this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Well, I think all of those thoughts are really insightful, and I appreciate you sharing them with me. So, what I was thinking was, there's an old saying that if you fail to plan, you essentially plan to fail. And so right now I'm thinking about the fall, and I'm thinking, how do we do that without really having the information from the medical experts? And the best that I could come up with is another cliche: hope for the best and plan for the worst, right? So I sent the superintendent an email with an idea. And the idea was to have an online academy for people who want to participate, who are concerned about their health, who understand how we can do things in a way that supports everybody's learning, would still allow people to participate in clubs and athletics if we're able to reopen. Um, and I guess what I'm wondering is how many of you would be interested if, for example, you know me as an English teacher, but if you actually began the year with a conference with me and with your families or whoever you live with to say, really, what is your big question? What are you interested in? And then over the course of the year to study in a way that covers the essential standards for each one of the classes that you have on your formal program. So for example, if a person is enrolled in and I'm just making stuff up right now, but if a person's enrolled in physics, Mexican American literature, algebra 2, physical education, Spanish, well, then maybe if somebody's saying, well, how does a pandemic happen and why did the government react so badly? We look at a book like Love in the Time of Cholera by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, or we look at the physics of microbiology and how physically viruses actually spread and contagion happens. And anyway, we go through essentially each one of the subjects in a way that connects students with resources and experts and makes the course of study something that isn't just a series of hour after hour of screen time assignments, but actually does the kind of thing that we all wish that we had time for, but doesn't require people to go anywhere that might put them at risk of getting sick. And I'm just wondering, does that sound like something you think would be attractive? Is it just something that you go, oh man, I don't know? Or what's your reaction? I'm curious.
Personally, me, I mean, like, I think it's a great idea, but I guess my first initial reaction was like, I don't know, because like a part of me still does want to go back to school, like to see my friends and stuff. I know that's selfish of me, but like, you know, part of me does want that like reality, even though I don't know if it's possible just yet. So coming to terms with something like that, I feel like it's a good idea, but like if everyone would be open to it, I don't really know.
Yeah. Well, so the idea would be if school's safe and people are healthy, then we all go to school and life goes on. I'm a huge fan of that. That's my first option. I'm just thinking about, so what if, because we don't have that information yet. And I'm also thinking about how people have been doing this process. And to be fair to teachers and students, this process wasn't intentionally designed by most people. Most of your teachers hadn't done much online and all of a sudden had to really scramble to make things work. And because of the grading policy and because of the way things were communicated, a lot of people at Santa Maria High School kind of went, well, I guess I'll just take the grade, and disappeared, right? So I think if people were intentional, that might make things different. I was just thinking about what happens if we're not able to go back to school, because if we don't plan now, and the reason I'm thinking about this, I don't want to get back in August and all of a sudden people go, whoops, like we did in March, and now everybody's doing the same thing, which hasn't been as wonderful in all of your classes as it might be. That's why I was curious. All right, whose iPhone? I don't know who that is. If you just joined, say hello.
Hello.
Hey, who is this?
Juan, but I don't know why I keep saying iPhone.
Oh, hey, that's all right, man. You know what? That explains a lot to me. I'm really happy that you're here. How are you?
I'm good. What about yourself?
Good, thanks. Good. So, did you see the blog post one where we were talking about the book that people could write along with me if they wanted to?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Okay. So I'm going to post as soon as this call's over today. I'm going to post the basically how we end the year post, and we've got
All
some
right.
choices. Everybody here is, I think, writing a book chapter. I'm writing one. Lena's writing one. Deanna, are you writing one? I forgot.
Yes, I am.
Okay. And one, the basic idea is most people don't know how it is for each other during the coronavirus quarantine because we're not together. So telling our stories is an important way to share. It's also an important way to create a record for people who come later. Because one of the things I learned about early on in this closure was that we know most of what we know about Mexican American indigenous culture because of people who survived the pandemics in what's now Mexico City and wrote journals. And so in a way, this is a gift to each other, but it's also a gift to anybody else we want to share with for years to come. So one option is just write your experience first person, doesn't need to be polished, and send it to me. I'll help you edit it, and then we'll put it all together. The other thing I wanted to ask the group today is, are you all interested in reading another, it can be a short book, it can be a short story or a series of poems, but we finished Fahrenheit 451. We're now into sort of project season this month. So on one hand, it's basically working time. On the other, if you're interested in reading something as a last piece for the year, I'm happy to do that. So because this is a small group and you're all really like wonderfully feeling and opinionated people, what do you think? What would you like to do?
I like the idea of reading another book. I feel like that would be cool.
Okay. I'll tell you what, I'll put up a few suggestions on the blog today, and then I'll invite people to bring in suggestions of their own, and then I'll make it a poll and we'll choose it together.
Sounds good.
Okay.
This is going to be the ultimate democratic English class. So does anybody have any questions or comments about the writing that you're already doing or our process at this point?
I kind of want to make a clarification.
Yeah.
So for a chapter, it can be endless, or like how long should it be?
No more than 700 pages.
Okay.
After that, I'll get tired. But
Okay.
Lena, there's no limit to it. If your brain goes off leash and you get on a roll, awesome.
Okay. Thank you.
And on the other hand, like I said, or was it yesterday? I'm losing track of my days. Friday. If somebody winds up writing a haiku and says I'm tapped and I said all I had to say, all right, we'll start with that.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to put up a post today just reminding people that the book is an option. I'm also going to put up, for those of you who were still working on a big question, I know a few people are, how that's going to work and how we'd love for you to present it on a Zoom call. And then lastly, I will put up that book poll and we'll see what people come up with. And I'll look forward to your suggestions too.
Sounds good.
All right. Is there anything else that you'd like to talk about or anything that you've got questions about for me?
My math teacher said that that one of the governors said that he's looking forward into probably opening schools around January. I know we were talked about going back to school in the fall, but is there anything like true about anything about the school opening, or is it just like a little false rumor?
No. So as far as I know, the only thing that we've been told for sure is that we're closed through the end of the school year and that people are looking at all sorts of medical data and consulting with all sorts of experts to try and figure out the best plan to balance people's health, like Deanna was saying, with trying to make sure that people don't lose too much of their life experience and fall behind on their academics. So the short answer to your question is no. A lot of people are saying a lot of things. And it seems like for 50 states, you've got 2,000 different opinions about what should be happening, but we don't have anything in concrete yet.
Okay.
And as soon as I hear anything, I'll definitely let you know.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. All right. Well, for now, it's not your senior year yet, so you still got Monday afternoon to celebrate. And I hope that you get some wonderful writing done and some time for. Is anybody exercising?
I go for runs sometimes with like my sister.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. Keep her in shape. All right. Juan, I know that you were that you missed a few conferences. Was there anything that you have questions about while we're together?
No, not really. No, I don't have questions.
Okay. Well, you're a stand-up guy for reaching out and joining us, and I appreciated your emails. So if you have anything that you need, just let me know, and I'm here for you.
All right.
Okay. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow.
You too.
Thank you
Okay.
too.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.